All right, crashing out at a Narcotics Anonymous meeting. Let's get into it. All right, so we're gonna have to time travel all the way back to the 2010 era. Okay, so in order for you to accompany me on that journey, I'm gonna need you to find that subscribe button and give it a little click. And if not, then just sketch on the back and you're allowed to come on the journey as well. I don't give a shit. So, this took place, like I said, like 2010, 2010. So, this was when I was in my first rehab, my outpatient rehab. And at this rehab, I had to go to, I think, three different meetings a week. So, I didn't like drinking, so I didn't like going to Alcoholics Anonymous and like just I didn't really like it. So they actually had a meeting. I've never seen one of these since, but they had a meeting and it was in the same building that my rehab was in, and it was a Marijuana Anonymous meeting. So I was like, hey, shit, like I'll go to that. And trust me, this is a good story. There's a lot of side pieces and information and stuff. This is a good story. Okay. So, first, let me explain to you a little bit of context. Okay. So, the main character we're going to be talking about today, his name is Charlie. Okay. Now, I met Charlie when I was at West High School, my very first high school. I was in woodshop for like a week until they put me into like the special needs class or whatever. Um, so um, he was in my class, and I remember he was like, I thought he has a funny last name. I don't like using people's last names like that, but he had a funny last name, and I remember like saying something about it to him because he sat near me or whatever, and he just like said that like he was on the wrestling team, and I think he was like was into like God and stuff, and like I was like okay, like it just didn't match his last name. Let's put it that way, and people will pick up on what I'm saying and know what I'm talking about. So like I meet him. He's like a junior or like even maybe a senior when I'm a freshman. He was like he was definitely like a couple years older than me. And woodshop is one of those classes where you could be young and be in a class with like a senior or something. So um, I meet him, and like my life, I meet him, then I'm out of that class. My life goes in a completely different direction, whatever. And like I uh I start hearing his name, and I start hearing his name that he's kind of like doing like some like kind of like wild shit cuz he lived very close in the vicinity where like a lot of my homies lived in this apartment complex. So like I heard that he was in like the mental hospital, and I don't remember why, but I just remember like that had happened. He was in Delamo Mental Hospital, which is like a notorious mental hospital in Torrance. That's just like very bad place to be. Not a place you want to be. So he gets out of there, and he's obsessed with the color blue. Like he says like the color blue saved him in there. Like he told me this with his own mouth. He said like he was like I was in his room. He invited me and my homie CJ over to his pad one time, and I shit you not, like he's like talking about that and whatever. We're in his room, and I'll never forget it. I was wearing this shirt, and it was a long sleeve Volcom shirt, and it had like a falcon on it, and Volcom, it had a bunch of different like logo stuff on it, but it was a black shirt, and it had like red print on it. And all of a sudden, Charlie, he just like stops talking, and he like looks at me, and he like looks down at my shirt, and then I swear to God, he goes, "Sorry, man," or he didn't even say sorry. He said, "I'm gonna have to ask you to leave because your shirt's giving off homosexual energy right now." And like me and my homie CJ are like standing there like, what? Like, and like I didn't want to like question it, like, and like I kind of wanted to get out of there anyways, so it didn't take too much convincing, but I'd never been hit with that line ever in my life. Okay, so the reason I bring him up is because he's the person that will end up crashing out. Okay, so when he goes to that place, I don't know what happened to him. They put him on like mood stabilizers. He was trying to get people to sell his mood stabilizers, which were not even like drugs people would buy on the street. They're like antipsychotic drugs or whatever. And like he was obsessed with the color blue. He wanted like to have like a crew, and he wanted them all to wear like blue bandanas in their back pockets, and so that it made no sense. And like I can actually remember seeing him at a party, and he was wearing all blue everything. He was wearing a blue bandana. Like all you could see was his eyes. I didn't even know who he was, like, until someone pointed it out to me and said who he was, or or someone was talking to him, and I was like, who is that? And I was like, oh shit, like literally all you could see was his eyes. Like I had no idea who that was. So, and the last time that I had saw him, like he was walking down the street on a main street, wasn't wearing a shirt, wasn't wearing shoes, and he had incense burned. He took incense and he burned it into his face, and then he was holding up a sign that, like, I forgot what it said, something, some kind of God sign or something like that, whatever. But that was the last time that I saw him. And yeah, so he definitely had quite the arc, and he would be around, like I never hung out with him or anything, but you'd hear people hanging out with him here and there or whatever. So anyways, this meeting happens, and it used to happen on Wednesdays, and I'm there, and a thing they do at meetings is sometimes it's someone's like year anniversary or whatever, and they'll say it's their birthday, and a lot of times they would bring like cake. So at this very same meeting, my homie's dad comes, and then his dad comes, and his dad brings my homie and then two of his friends that from like their high school that like I was like kind of friends with them too. So they come in, and I see them, and I could just tell that they were super lit, like super, like, and like when they make the announcement about the cake, they just go over and they just start eating the cake, like just like eating the whole fucking cake. And one of them actually, like, he leaves the room, he walks out, and like I noticed that like 20 minutes had gone by and he didn't come back, so I like walked out because I think I'd use the bathroom or something, and I see him, and he's in the lobby where they have to like buzz you in if you want to get in, and he's like sitting there, and he's sitting there in a chair, like with like the things like this, and he's just like this, just like knocked out like that. And like I even took a picture of him on my cell phone. It was so funny, so funny. And so that was just another thing that happened at this same meeting. So the meeting starts, and you know like we're there, and of course Charlie comes in late, and he comes in with this girl. It's like I'd never seen her before or anything, like I'd never seen her. So they, like if you've never been to a meeting, they go around and ask people if they want to share and stuff, So they're going around the room, people are talking, and it's the same people always, and they were cool people. Like it was a cool people, they're funny and stuff. And finally, when it gets to Charlie, he like I remember he was on crutches when he came in. He was already on crutches. I don't remember why, but he was on crutches for sure. And which is ironic for what for you'll see why. He actually says when it gets to be his turn, he stands up and like you could tell he was about to like, go off on like a little fucking tangent or whatever. And he's like, "Yeah, like I just think you guys use marijuana as a crutch." Like he literally had a crutch and was using a crutch and was like, "You guys use it as a crutch." Like I just realized how funny that is. I think it's funny. So he just went off and was like saying like, "You guys used it as a crutch and like, like I'm better than that and like you guys should like be doing things like better like by what the Bible says." He just like it was just a random rambling, just like totally rambling and like he just went off for like 10 minutes. Like and that's a long time. 10 minutes is a long time if you sit there and count one Mississippi, two Mississippi for 10 minutes, it's a long time. And he was just going off and we were just waiting for him to stop, and then like he was getting like angry and like his voice was getting angry and stuff, and like it got to the point where like we had to like try to everybody, I didn't do shit, but they like calmed him down, and then like they were like, "Yo, you gotta go." And his girl, like, she never said a word. She just like gets up and like walks with them, and he's like yelling as he's walking out the door like, "You guys need to repent, and you have no idea what's going on." And like he just like all the way until the door stopped, and we all like kind of like looked around at each other and were like, "Whoa, like that was pretty crazy." So yeah, that was the last. Oh, and also a last final fact that was pretty strange was Charlie. He actually got bit by a brown recluse spider, and if you don't know about those are really deadly spiders that like you do not. It's like probably just as deadly or deadlier than a black widow. And like his leg, I remember he got bit on like the knee or something, and his leg blew up like it was like elephantitis, and like I don't know if there was ever a chance he was gonna like die, but like it was like some serious shit. I don't know if that had anything to do with anything. I meant to mention it earlier, but I forgot until right now. But that happened in between when I first met him and then after all this stuff where he would show up and like he was more street involved because like he was like a normal, just like a Christian wrestler guy on the wrestling team, like just whatever. And a lot changed. So yeah, that's the story of just one incidence of one meeting that all that shit happened at the same time. Hopefully I'm not forgetting anything, but yeah, I mean, just the guy on crutches saying that we're using it as a crutch it's just like, you can't make shit like that up. Like, that's pretty funny. So, anyways, I hope you guys like the story, and yeah, remember to shoot a subscribing is the main thing. If you want to like and like you comment, like I'll conversate and everything. Don't get me wrong. But, the more people I can reach, the better I feel. And, even though I'm totally cool, I'm humble, I'm grateful for what I have and the people that listen to my stuff and enjoy it and everything. So I just would like my message to go out to as many people as possible. That's it. So, anyways, I hope everybody has a nice day. And who knows, maybe I'll throw in another video later. But if not, then I hope everybody has a good day. All right. Peace out.